and also for her introduction. I'm very delighted and honored to be with all of you to share some thoughts on the Kathopanishad
Upanishad
this time.
this time.
The uh, the
The
beauty
beauty
of
of
speaking
speaking
with
with
students
students
of the
of the
Shivananda
Shivananda
ashram is that they are already prepped and prepared to lead a life of what we call and what Lord Yama in the Kathopanishad calls a life of Shreyas. And this is going to be the topic. The word Shreyas means it is a particular construction. It's a comparative word like good, better, best. Even in English we have things like this: better, comparative. The word best is superlative. So here this is a comparative uh, word, and it's actually an irony because the word Shreyas is actually what it means is it's used in the superlative sense, the most praiseworthy, the most exalted is the meaning of the word Shreyas. But it is used in the comparative sense. The Upanishad uses it in the comparative sense only to help us out. And we, as jivas, flailing in the ocean of samsara, glub, 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 sinking, coming up for air, glub, 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 coming up for air, we need lots of help. And the thinking is also very, small and finite. Why? Because one is the jiva. The jiva means this glub glub fellow, the person who is always coming up for air in between bouts of immersion. And the word immersion is very nice. Immersion into yoga? No. Immersion into Vedanta? Absolutely not. Immersion into finite choices, finite ways of being, and yet the heart is looking for the infinite. So, this kind of an immersion into the finite, to be able to come out of that, the thinking cannot be changed suddenly. And if one is asked, please choose the best, then one has no infrastructure to be able to choose the best because one doesn't know what the best is. The one who is constantly dunking oneself into the ocean of samsara. Samsara, everybody knows, I think. And very soon it will become part of the uh, Oxford Dictionary, like the words guru and so many Sanskrit words. It will become part of the dictionary, especially as a result of this pandemic. Everybody knows what samsara is. And if you say, I still want to have a definition of samsara, if somebody is, having a desire to have a definition of samsara nonetheless, I will define samsara as more of the same. Same old, same old. And how is same old spelt? SAY, say MOLD, mold. Okay, say mold. Say mold. Always. So samsara is more of the same. And what is more of the same? The same sense of alienation, the same sense of feeling trapped, the same sense of a routinization. I get up in the morning, I do the same thing as I did yesterday, and a same sense of despair, a same sense of dejection, a same sense of being trapped in un you know unbridled longings, inability to get out of them, the same sense of worry, the same sense of fear, the same sense of tears. This is samsara, same, more of the same. And more of the same even may be okay if one is equipped with the ability to emerge from it once and for all. But the word samsara brings in that sense of feeling trapped, victimized, and the inability to get out of it except for short periods of time where there is some respite. That's why the short form, the precise definition of samsara from now on will be glub glub glub, meaning one is trapped in the ocean and somehow something works, flails around, comes up for air, and then all seems to be well, and then again glub glub glub. This is what it is. So this freedom from samsara seems to be very elusive because one doesn't appear to have at hand the ability to extricate oneself. And that is what makes it makes this samsara fraught with a feeling of dread, feeling of being trapped in a world of finite means and finite ends. Whatever I choose appears to be finite. Yet the heart longs for the infinite. This is the contradiction. And this contradiction is what makes samsara continue without shame all the time. And therefore, the word Śreyas is put as a nice little bait, a carrot, for those, for the macrobiotic people and healthy sattvic people. The carrot is good because it's raw food, it's wonderful. And for the rest of us, we can say chocolate cake dangling at the end of the stick. Okay? Anything. So the word Śreyas is deliberately used by the Upanishad comparatively because the person who is struggling to come out of this glub glub situation, out of this samsara, is flailing around for the better choice. Which is better? I have this in my hand, but then is that better? That's all the human mind, without exposure to the knowledge of Vedanta, and we'll see very quickly what that is. Without getting exposed to the knowledge of Vedanta, the human mind is only able to see which is better for me. And what kind of a choice is this better? I want to be better. I want to become better than what I am. This is the gamut of human thinking, flawed as it is, by completely being eclipsed by choosing the finite all the time. It is as though the ability to choose itself is compromised because of the predicament that one finds oneself in, namely not knowing what the correct choice is. So at the most one can say, give me something better than what I have. In other words, ironically one is saying, is there a better samsara than this? And that is why one is into lokas. Okay, this life, we just put a big cross on it because it is gone. Nothing that I do seems to be getting me out of this predicament. And suddenly the afterlife starts to look nice. Maybe there is a loka out there. Maybe the loka means a field of experience, some other kind of an afterlife. Because this life is done in, gone. I don't seem to find what I want. In fact, one doesn't even know what one wants. I seem to not be having the wherewithal to even articulate what I want. And here, in this glub glub samsara where I don't even know what I want, the idea of something, a goal, is vague, amorphous. I want to be happy. I want the infinite. I want to not be tied down to the finite. I want to be better than what I am. And I look around, the better is elusive, and therefore one arrives at a conclusion that at best can be told to be erroneous. That which is better than this here. Achievements and then disappointment. Accomplishment followed by disappointment. Happiness followed quickly by dejection. Triumph followed by a sense of failure. This is samsara, the alternating trappings of agony and ecstasy. And so, to get out of this, I look around. Everybody seems to be in the same predicament. So one therefore comes to the erroneous conclusion that that which must be better must be other than here, must be in some other location, other than samsara, other than this samsara that I know very well and that I don't love to be in. Because wherever I look, my accomplishments seem to be constrained, number one. I want to be the best, but somebody already is the best in what I do. I want something, but then somebody else already got it. I want something, but then I got it, but then I don't like it. And so this is what samsara is. And so freedom from samsara must be in some place other than what I see and experience here and now. This is the conclusion. An erroneous conclusion. And therefore the erroneous conclusion leads one to think that after this horrid life, in this dilapidated body, a mind that is equally dilapidated, equally afflicted. As I like to say, the only thing we can say for certain about the mind is never mind. That's all you can say about the mind. And a mind that is gone, a body that is soon ready to go, senses that are already compromised, driving me senseless. So therefore, the erroneous conclusion is that which is better must be elsewhere, other than this loka. Therefore, already one has so many desires that one cannot even count. One comes into the world with excess baggage of desires from the previous life, previous life. Already excess baggage. In fact, that is why the birth has taken place. Desire is the cause of birth. Why? Because the desires were so many that the jiva who is disembodied is praying for a body. Keeps on praying for a body so that one can experience all the desires that one could not in the previous life. In the previous life, one was a perhaps, a human being, let's say a man born in America. And then what happened in that life? Whatever I wanted, I couldn't get. I was born in America, all right, but then I kept on competing for this and that, and couldn't get satisfaction, couldn't get help, couldn't get do this. And then I saw all these, you know, women. And the women seem to have it so easy. No burden of trying to be the provider. Uh, you know, no constraints. They can cry whenever they want. And as a man, I have to be strong. I have to at least have the show of strength. So much pressure. And then the women seem to be so wonderful. And then what? Next life, woman born in America. And then what? Then also, OMG, there is discrimination. We have to fight for liberation. And then, so like this it keeps on. That's how samsara keeps on reproducing itself. Endless desires, endless births, and always seeking for something better. And perhaps what I call better is outside of the scheme of birth and death, rebirth and redeath. And therefore, that desire for some other loka, maybe there is peace in heaven. Maybe I can just go there and have satsang with Lord Indra. If not satsang, at least a cup of chai with Lord Indra and a selfie. Put my arm around Lord Indra and click a selfie. Unfortunately, you cannot bring it to the next birth and gloat about it. Selfie self-destructs right in that loka itself. Because you see, if everything is finite, the lokas are also within the scheme of things that are finite. This is what one doesn't understand. And that is why the setting of the Kathopanishad is deliberately in another loka. So vicariously, with the help of little Nachiketa, we can visit another loka and find out that the same problems exist there also. If this penchant for getting things that one desires, if the pressure for desire fulfillment has not been interrogated, has not been questioned and resolved ihaiva, here itself, then no matter where you go, there you bring in your excess baggage of desires. Even if you go to the ultimate loka, at the far end of the reaches of samsara, what is that? Brahmaloka, where Lord Brahmaji apparently sits and teaches Vedanta. Let's say you go there because you have so much good merits called punya. You go there and sit at the feet of Lord Brahmaji. What is he teaching? Kathopanishad. And accidentally the section on Śreyas and Preyas, he is also delineating the meaning of Śreyas. And right, sitting in front of Lord Brahmaji, you get depressed. Because sitting at home, and offered by the Shivananda ashram, these lectures were already there, available freely. What for I had to make so much effort to go elsewhere? And so therefore the setting of the Kathopanishad is deliberately in another loka than this one. So that we can see that no matter which loka you go, you will still be loko. Loko means mad. If this whole problem of the addiction to desire fulfillment has not been dropped. If this addiction to desire fulfillment as a defining feature of one's identity has not been resolved, then no matter where you go, you will be unhappy. you will be sad. And if the addiction to desire fulfillment has been resolved in the only place where it should be resolved, right here between the temples, where the desire arises, right here in the heart, where the desires are thriving and they are entertained. If it is not resolved, then no matter where you go, you will be sad. If it is resolved here and now, you don't need to go anywhere at all. Ihaiva taihi ihaiva jitas sargaha yesham samye sthitam manah. The 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita proclaims, by those yogis, by those jnanis, the people of knowledge, the people of yoga, the people of equanimity, right here, all the lokas, swarga, heaven included, is gained if they have dropped the addiction to desire fulfillment. And if they have dropped the identity, the primary identity, the default identity of being a desirer of objects, events, situation, places, and people. This is what the Bhagavad Gita says. So the redemption from samsara is not anywhere else. Even you can go to Yamaloka, you can go to the Loka of Lord Yama, and we'll see what it is like. It's a very interesting place. And you can go there also, and nothing will happen. Even from the continuum from Yamaloka to Brahmaloka, no matter which loka you go to, being born again in the world of mortals is a guarantee if the identity of oneself as a desirer of objects is not questioned and is not eschewed. This again is proclaimed by the Bhagavad Gita in the 8th chapter. A Brahma Bhuvanal Lokat Punaravartino Arjuna. Hey Arjuna, O Arjuna, right from here, this samsara, this loka, this world where you are, Bhuloka, all the way up to Brahmaloka, you can come back. You will come back definitely if you don't understand myself as you. That your Swarupa, your essential, inalienable nature is nothing but that of Bhagavan Ishvara. If you don't understand that you and me are one, no matter which loka you go to, you will come back here. This is what the whole thing is. And so therefore, the word Śreyas, this is what we are looking into. The word Śreyas is deliberately, as I said, comparative. Comparative because the human being is wired, before Vedanta, is wired for comparison. Is this better or is this better? Starting from something you buy in the shop. Starting from a sari, is this better or is this better? And then you make a list. And even something simple like a food, some object for eating. So many meals you have to have in this life. So many meals have already been had. Yet one obsesses. Well, this one is organic and it is healthy and it is sattvic, but the other one is more tasty. This one is more expensive. Because even if you say the word organic, you have to pay something. Okay, that's what it is like. So this one is more expensive, but the other one, is not very good for health. So this is the comparative. So the word Śreyas it comes from the root verb shams, to praise. Out of that word shams, to praise, first you add a prefix pra. and then you add a suffix ya, and then you make a word prashasya, praiseworthy, that which is worthy of being praised. Prashasya, that which is worthy of being praised. Then we have a Sanskrit rule that when you add comparative and superlative suffixes like iyasun comparative suffix, ishthan superlative suffix, the whole word prashasya is replaced by the word shra, simply replaced by shra. Prashasyasya shraha, there is a sutra. Take away the word prashasya, forget that that is there, and then use the syllable shra. So shra plus es, Śreyas. Es means comparative. Shra again means praiseworthy because the meaning is still retained. So Śreyas therefore means that which is preferable. Very interesting. Preferable. And we as students of Vedanta know better. We therefore translate the word Śreyas to mean the most exalted, the most preferred. Comparative only because there are two choices that are being entertained. This is to reel in the human beings here to study the Kathopanishad, because here also, see, in samsara also you are always dealing with various choices, which is better, which is better, which is better. Now here also you are dealing with two choices. And one of them is Śreyas, that which is preferable. And then what is the other one? Preyas. Preyas from Priya, that which is desirable, that which is pleasurable. So on the one hand, that which is the choice, that which is preferable, and on the other hand we have the default choice, that which is pleasurable. Same suffix, es. Preyas. And that means what? So now we have at hand two choices. What are those two choices? One which is pleasurable, and that we know. We know this. If anybody has lived in samsara even for a day, one knows what is pleasurable. Even a day-old baby knows what is prayas without even knowing how to say the word prayas, knows this very well. The arms of a caring parent held close to the chest, listening to the mother's or the father's heartbeat. Very pleasurable, gives a sense of security, pleasurable. Then of course the mother makes the mistake of thinking the baby is asleep, puts the baby down in the crib, and what? Chaos ensues. The baby breaks into tears, cries loudly, and then again the father lifts and holds the baby. Prayas. Prayas is understood. Anything that makes me stop crying is pleasurable. Not only for the baby but also for the parents. Who wants to hear this baby crying its head off? Nobody. The babies have very, what should I say, very powerful weapons at hand. And so the prayas is understood even before you know how to say Amma, mother. Even before you know how to say that, prayas is understood. And it's sought after. Now this newborn baby is now 3 months old. cleverer, has experience, including the experience of when the mother is going to put me down. Before, the child was crying after it was put down. Now the child has experience of this samsara, its own little samsara of the parents, its own little pleasurable moments, its own little search and the thirst for security which it only finds in the arm of the caregivers. Having been ejected from the womb, which was a very secure place. In this vast world, the only two people it knows, it finds a certain security there. And so while before it was crying after it was put down, now it is experienced in samsara to search for this preyas before it is put down. It knows the mother, it knows the father. Oh, their hold is loosening. I better cry now because why wait till I am put down and experience that angst? Let me cry now itself. See how the search for the pleasurable starts on day one. All from womb to tomb, preyas is the default choice. One is born for preyas, so to speak, the pleasurable. And as long as one is equipped and endowed with a body mind sense complex, you know what happens? One is constantly wanting a pleasure and eschewing anything uncomfortable. Physically, mentally, emotionally, one becomes a preyas hog, a preyas addict, searching, scouting out what is what is the best situation, which is I shouldn't use the word best, which is the better situation for me. So if you go in a room and then there are some seats on the floor, cushions on the floor, and there is a wonderful overstuffed couch also, what will you choose? Naturally, it's an empty room. Naturally, you will go plonk yourself in the couch. Because when the choice is there, a floor seat, a little mat on the floor, or an overstuffed couch. And mind you, we are not talking of Shivananda people, okay? We are not talking of yogis who are very limber and who know what it means to sit erect all the time. We are not talking of them. We are talking of just generally people in general, masses. General person goes into a room and there is one nice overstuffed couch, and then there is a mat on the floor. Let's call it ouch, okay? Yeah. The C is lopa. Kakarasya lopaha. So between couch and ouch, definitely you will choose couch. Who will choose the floor and say ouch? No one. This is what this is how exactly one leads the life where preyas predominates. And it is not an accident, I believe, that the word preyas, when it is spelled in English, you forget the suffix es. What is the first four letters? Prey, P-R-E-Y. One keeps on preying upon situations, preying upon people, preying upon things in order to yield some happiness. And that happiness is defined as, first of all, as bodily comfort. I want to be in situations such as the couch. No more ouch for the body, only couch. I want to be in that kind of a situation all the time. Soft things, soft pillows, And then even sleeping, the bed has to be, what is that? Some kind of a memory mattress, memory foam. Your memory is going, but you expect the mattress to remember how you sleep. Oh, is this fair? Tell me. So, and then the memory mattress, the advertisement is that they put a finger, you put the whole hand there, and then you remove the hand, and the print of the hand is already there. It's soft, it just remembers your sleeping posture and supports you in the correct places. This is what one wants for the body, and one wants comfortable situations. And what about the mind? The mind also, I want comfortable situations. The body, of course, I want comfortable situations for the body lifelong, and for the mind also one wants comfortable situations. How? Such as, when I go into the room, everybody must smile. Nowadays it's hard to find out if somebody is smiling or not. Why? Because everybody is wearing a mask. In a way it's good, leads us to Śreyas. That's why I keep calling this what is this pandemic a blessing. Not coronavirus, karuna virus, a virus that has compassionately is determined to lead us to Śreyas, whether we like it or not. So then you go to, the mind also is drawn towards comfortable situations. I want everybody to be smiling at me. Nobody should frown or scowl. I want people to be kind to me. Why should they be kind? No, but I want it. I want people to be compassionate towards me. I want people to be considerate towards me. I want people to be generous towards me. Whenever I come into the room, they should give me things. Why should they give you things? Because this is what I want. I want therefore people to be compassionate, kind, generous, smiling and giving to me without me necessarily being kind, generous, giving to them. This is also Preyas. The mind also is drawn into comfortable situations. I don't want my thinking to be challenged. Here is the ahankara that is addicted to Preyas. The mind is addicted to Preyas. The ahankara also needs a little couch where it is sitting, and a throne where it is uncontested. Nobody should challenge my beliefs. Nobody should challenge my notions. In fact, everybody should be showering me with approval. Just ask one more question. Why should everybody be showering you with approval? The answer makes one squirm because it's not very comfortable, but we have to look into it. Because I do not approve of myself. Full stop. Period. That is why I become a Preyas hog, and I prey upon situations to gain approval. To gain approval. And I'm reminded here of the story that my teacher would like to tell from his satsang days. He was invited to somebody's house to give a talk, and lots of people had been invited, and the hostess who had invited him had brought a very expensive sari for the occasion and had worn it, hoping that everybody will say, "Wow, what a lovely sari! Look at the shining border made of gold. Look at the colors. Look at all the things. Look at the edges. Look at the tassels. And more importantly, look at you in it. You are actually making the sari shine even brighter." She wanted that. And then what happened? Everybody who came, unfortunately, was more interested in Vedanta and what Swamiji had to teach. This is what happens. So don't waste your Sunday best for a Vedanta satsang, because nobody will notice. People are into Shreyas. So if you invite all the people who are into Shreyas and want Preyas, this is a very sad situation. And so the hostess did a few things to attract the people towards the sari, because nobody was interested. Even before Swamiji's talk started, everybody was milling around and talking about other things, not her sari. And so she took a drastic step. Even though the sari came with the instruction, dry clean only, but the lady was desperate. What did she do? She pretended she needed some water and took a glass of water, drank a sip, and spilled the rest of it on the sari. Why? So that she could say, Ayyo, oh no, look, such an expensive sari, wearing for the first time, a gift from my husband. Alas, I have spilt water on this wonderful sari with a wonderful contrasting border. Oh no. At least this way people would look at the sari. This is what, this is what happens. Even though this is a drastic example, this is what happens when the mind is into prayas. You try to manipulate the situation. The ahankara manipulates the situations to make sure that you eke out situations to gain some sense of approval. And then the senses also want comfortable situations. The senses are also into prayers. Even though the senses are just impartial reporters, they just say, okay, here is a smell that is identified as samosas. Samosas means, what is that called? Favorite Indian fried snack, junk food, okay? So samosas. Samosas are frying. The olfactory nerves are just reporting. And the mind says, go see if they are free. If not, how much do they cost? Go see if you can get an invitation to crash the party. This is where the mind and the senses, they just coalesce together and go after this wonderful fragrance. So the senses are also compromised. Go after prayas. And then what? So the mind, senses, and then ahankara, then the emotions. I have to be kept happy all the time. I have to be kept in a good mood. Therefore, I try to engineer the situations so that I'm never unhappy. How is that working out for you? Not very well. That's why it is glub, glub, glub. Because it is very clear to see that you cannot manipulate the situations which have people in it. Because the people are in your world are also trying to manipulate you unsuccessfully. And you cannot change people. You cannot make people approve of you. You cannot make people try to put a balm on your emotions. So, if you think that all the inner children, which is another way of saying recalcitrant, difficult to control emotions, difficult to manage emotions, you are going to let the significant others in your life babysit those inner children, you are mistaken. Why? Because that only works for a little while. Before long, you have to babysit everybody else's emotions too. Everybody else's inner brats. You also have to babysit. And this is just not possible. And so the hope that samsara will keep me, that people in samsara, things in samsara, places in samsara are going to keep my emotions happy, are going to keep me happy, is a very big falsehood. It's a very big spoof, a very big bluff. Not going to happen. That is why there is no such place called happy place. unless of course we are talking of a psychological term of disconnection from reality, as in such and such a person who was traumatized at in childhood likes to disconnect and go to their happy place. No, there is no such thing called happy place. Because even if a place has the power to make you happy, like trees, like a place which is frequented by people who go to parks, etc., parks, trees, national forests, it's not guaranteed that when you go there you'll be happy. Let's say you go there and then you get the news that somebody that you love is in the hospital, surrounded by all the redwoods and the scenery and the mountains and the oceans. Wherever you are, you can still be unhappy. So there is no such thing called happy place, and neither is there a time called happy time. Even though the people like to say there is something called happy hour, this is just for the bartenders. Bartenders become happy because everybody comes during that time to the bar. That's all it is. In fact, only sad people go there, so it is not a happy hour. There is no happy time. There is no happy place. There is only you. And so the emotions don't get what they want in samsara. They don't get the approval they seek. How about the buddhi? The buddhi, that is the discriminating faculty. So we have discussed manaha, the mind, and senses, and then which includes the senses here, and then chittam, emotions, ahankara, and now finally the buddhi, the decisive faculty, the intellect. How about that? That too can be compromised by this addiction to the finite, because the addiction for approval is always the addiction to the finite. That too can be compromised if it decides to go the along with business as usual, if it decides to choose prayers, if it doesn't know any better. Therefore, the buddhi is extricated, because the buddhi is the only thing that is teachable. The ahankara joins the buddhi, is made to join the buddhi and listen to the Kathopanishad and direct it gently to make the correct choice. The choice from seeking comfortable situations and places, events, people, etc., for the comfort of the body, mind, sense complex. The buddhi is directed from that to seeking the cause for self disapproval and understanding why there is self disapproval. And the answer to that is self ignorance. I don't know that I'm already free. I don't know that I'm already comfortable. Without seeking sources of comfort, I'm already comfortable. I know not. And I don't know that I'm already approving. So the self is already comfortable. The self is already approved, because there is nothing other than it. It is glorious. I am that glory. I am that Ishvara, which is the same as this I. If I don't know, then naturally the default choice is not going to be pretty. It's going to be casting me forever into cycle after cycle of samsara. More we will see in the morning. I don't think tomorrow morning, I think the morning after that I will conclude here. We will say the closing prayer. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.
We would like to thank very much Swamini Svatmavidyananda Saraswati. Let's give her a big hand for this talk. And she will continue tomorrow in the evening satsang. So we'll go over the schedule for tomorrow. We have morning satsang at 6 a.m. We have a yoga class for all levels with Bhargavi at 8:30. We have a 4:30 to 6 meditative class with Ishwara Chaitanya and a 7 p.m. yoga nidra class with Narayani Chaitanya. And 8, we have evening satsang with Swamini Svatmavidyananda. Tomorrow is the TTC day off, and we invite you to join morning satsang or evening satsang. That is still part of your course. And then you're also welcome to attend the ashram daily yoga classes free of charge. We will we have sent you the link, so you can take a yoga class at 8:30 in the morning or at 4:30 in the afternoon, or do a session of deep relaxation yoga nidra at 7 p.m. So for the TTC is also the last day to study and prepare for the last oral exam that is happening on Tuesday morning, and then we will be celebrating the graduation on Tuesday at 2 p.m. So we would like to congratulate the TTC students. They completed their studies today, and they've been through a very wonderful journey of 4 weeks. Tomorrow they will be resting and studying, and then graduation is on Tuesday.